You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Sunday the 3rd of August 2025 and you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And something I failed to mention both on my podcast on the 1st, well that was kind of deliberate because I was talking about my targets for this month, and indeed yesterday, is that I actually spent quite a lot of my time on the 31st, the last day of July anyway, the one where I didn't do a podcast. I spent quite a lot of that time brainstorming because I kind of looked through my chapter plan for self-portrait and felt that it wasn't quite right, that there wasn't quite enough going on. So, and also I know that the story has to run directly into the sequel or the third book in the trilogy, which is going to be called Blank Canvas. And I hadn't figured out what the linking mechanism was, and what was going to happen. And I've sussed it. I have actually worked it out. And also, there was a storyline that I wanted to put into this book, which I think needs to be in the final book. I think I can start setting it up in this book. It's basically that the Sutherland Institute, which is a group of people that controls people with these powers, these abilities, they end up having a bit of a civil war going on inside, and it's basically between the moderate people like Meredith Lawson, the person who's running it at the moment, who feels that they've got the balance of managing people's abilities compared to, burning them out of people, feels they're doing the right thing. And then you've got Lady Khalida Desai, who was the one who actively wanted Max Sosi to be killed, who believes that they're too soft, and one of the reasons, or one of the things that's happened as a result of them being too soft, was that Max Sosi has been able to get away with, making people disappear for nearly 2,000 years. So I'm going to sort of set up the factions within this book, but then I don't think so. Lady Khalida Desai is going to try and do basically a power grab. But I think that's going to be in book 3. But I need to set that up in this. But there was one other I didn't quite understand. So there's things that I'm not ever going to say on the podcast because they're major spoilers about the story. But I know, for example, I know who Lady Khalida Desai is. There's the one thing I have had people asking me who've read the first book is, who was that? Who was she? What's she doing? What's she about? Book 2 is about that. It's about revealing who she is. But there's more than that going on now, because I felt that what I had in place wasn't complicated enough. So I don't need the story to be so complex that people can't understand it. But I just felt what was going on was a little bit too simplistic. And I've worked out a couple of little twists that I can put into self-portrait, which will just help it go on its way. Now, the other thing I can successfully say is, now the time is, it's 3 p.m. in Singapore, which means as I record this, it's only 8 a.m. at home in the UK, and I haven't decided whether to set the podcast to release a bit later or whether I should just release it now. I guess whatever time you see this, you'll have an answer to that. But what I've done today, and a bit yesterday, on my break, I have worked on chapter 3, and I think, as I said yesterday, some of the words in chapter 3 were the last bit of material I think I'm going to end up using from the original version of this project. About 2,500 words, and there's another 1,500 on the words on the end that sort of finish it off. And I've signed it off basically. So I wrote it mainly yesterday. I did a little bit of fine-tuning the last couple of scenes today and read through it a couple of times, and then I've signed off chapter 3. Now I need to tell you exactly how many words that is, because obviously I'm tracking how many words I'm writing this month. It's the target I've set myself on this podcast. So the first chapter I've written, it's called chapter 3, and it's called Both Ways, is 4,198 words. So it's the 3rd of August, and I've written 4,198 out of my 20,000 words. Now that sounds good, because if I complete a chapter every 3 days, or that many words every 3 days, I should be done by the 15th, but that's not going to happen, because like I said, 2,500 words I already had. And I think the danger I've got now is that I will run out of chapter breakdown, because I'm kind of winging it a little bit. I've changed, but the original chapter breakdown I had wasn't very good, so I'm probably not going to be using it. So what I'm going to do, and this is what I did with Empress of the Trees, and it worked, is I will keep my chapter plan ahead of where I'm writing. So I have written a chapter plan that takes in, I think, let me just load it up, chapters 4, 5 and 6, so the next 3 chapters. Now that will be nearly all I need to write this month. I think maybe there might be another, maybe chapter 7 written this month as well, but that, if I can get those written in the next couple of weeks, I will definitely be heading in the right direction to getting it signed off. Or not getting it signed off, but getting my word count target hit this month. So that's me for today. Thank you so much for listening. I will be back tomorrow, where hopefully I will have started working on the first draft of chapter 4, which I won't say. I've got to stop giving spoilers away, as I say, because it's all leading up to a big revelation at the end of the book. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.